Story
POV.
time with Dee.
Why you should never
Okay.
fly American
I really
Airlines.
didn't want to make
Definitely
this
not
video,
international.
but I thought I should. Because I will never, let me say this again, I will never fly American again. Ever. And I certainly will not do a connection on any airline carrier through Philadelphia. Let me repeat that. Philadelphia. The city of brotherly love. Philly, whatever you want to call it, didn't show us any love. Now let me just digress and let me tell you what happened. My daughter and myself, we were flying out for my 60th birthday. We're doing a European trip. We were flying from RDU, which is Raleigh-Durham Airport, North Carolina, via Philly with a connection, and then to Rome. That's right, Rome. Okay? We chose this flight for a reason because we had some other prior engagements that wouldn't allow us to fly Delta, which we, shout out to Delta, that we typically fly. But we decided to do premium to upgrade with American Airlines. Now, I don't know if y'all know like I know, premium, if you upgrade that with Delta or any airlines, I thought you're supposed to get the royal treatment. But anyways, I digress because there's so much to share. So much to share. Okay. Well, we had a 6:15 p.m. Flight from RDU, which was about 2-hour flight to get to Philly. We had an hour and a half time lapse in between to get to our connecting flight, which was going to be to Rome in Philly. Okay. We said, okay, we got a tight window there, but hey, we packed efficiently. We felt like we can hop and skip, and if we needed to run, jump, whatever we had to do to get to our connecting gate. No problem. The flight from RDU to Philly, no weather issues, got us there in record time. We had no problems whatsoever. Landed. When we landed, we saw the alert for our connecting flight. It said it was delayed. Now we got there at about 8:15, I guess, or whatever. Our flight was supposed to leave at, well, actually it wasn't even 8:15. It was maybe 8 or something, because we were supposed to leave at 9:15. They started boarding, you know how the hour earlier, all that, yada, yada, yada. So it was only like an hour, 15, 20 minutes in between our landing time and our departure time for our flight to Rome out of Philly. Well, soon as we hit the tarmac in Philadelphia with that flight from RDU, which went smoothly, everything was hunky-dory, we got a notification that the Rome flight, our flight to Rome, was going to be delayed. It said it was going to be delayed an hour, I think. We was like, thank God. We get a chance to breathe. You know, we're not going to be as rushed. We didn't mind, you know, another hour, because that padded us. We can get something to eat. We hadn't had anything to eat or anything like that. We could chill, you know, and wait for that. Now, granted, Europe is 6 hours. Rome is 6 hours ahead of us. So it was going to put us there next day, which is, we leaving on Saturday. It was going to put us there Sunday at around 11 a.m. for, you know, in Rome. Okay, which that's what we had planned for. Get in Rome on Sunday. We relax, checking out Airbnb, check the streets out a little bit. And that was all we were going to do for that day. And then our activities was going to start on that following Monday. Okay, here we go. So like I said, it was delayed by an hour. It says 10:15. We was like, okay, no, cool. We got this. We can eat. We can find us something, da-da-da-da. We did all of that. By the time it came to about the 10:15, guess what they said? It was delayed to 11:15. We were like, we looking at each other with a side eye now, because this is delayed twice. We looking on our app. Now at this point, I don't think they had started announcing it within the terminal itself, the gate itself. But anyways, here we go. We're like, okay, we recharge our devices. My daughter, she hooks up her laptop, iPad, whatever. I'm on my phone. We're just, making the most of it, whatever. Now, mind you, we looking around, right? We the only black people here. The only black or brown people on this flight. Everybody else did not look like us. Okay. So anyways, that's not a problem because I'm used to being in these spaces. Okay. I'm used to being in these kind of spaces. But I was like, okay. Next thing you know, when it got close to 11:15, they said it was delayed to 12:15 or 12:30 or something. Now, granted, this is midnight. Okay. We're still calculating like what time we going to get there. Well, we'll still get there by 2 o'clock on Sunday. All is good. Now, mind you, let me tell you this. I didn't tell you this. We had, my other daughter was flying from San Diego to Atlanta by way of, San Diego, Atlanta, and to Rome. Her flight's supposed to get there at 11 something too. We planned this out perfectly, right? That we all would get there around the same time in the airport in Rome. Now, granted, we're getting confirmation from her that she even had a tighter window in Atlanta, in that huge airport where she had to catch a train or shuttle and all this stuff. Anyways, she made it. And she had already said she'd mapped out other flights that were going out that still would get her roughly there on Sunday. If for some reason she missed her connecting flight in Atlanta to Rome, she had planned all her stuff out. Now, this girl didn't have to. Now, we didn't plan no extra flights and all that stuff. She had planned her stuff out. Turns out she didn't need it because she got to Atlanta. She said she ran, skipped, hopped, and jumped with her backpack on her back, and she made her connecting flight. She said, last call, she made it, but she made it. And they took off, and voila, they're on their way to Rome. Here we are, stuck in Philly. They keep giving delays. So by this time, we walk up to the counter. We asking the people. They was like, oh, no. Why is it delayed? It ain't no weather outside. The weather's nice. Is a plane here? Is the plane where it's coming to take us? Is that somewhere where there's some weather issues? No. It's maintenance. They're doing maintenance on the plane. So this is all American. Maintenance on the plane. We're like, okay. And they was like, well, we'll let you all know and announce it on the speaker, in the gate. When the plane is being pulled in the hangar, right? So it's over in the maintenance area somewhere. Then they got to take it out of there, put it in the hangar where we're going to board at, and then we'll know that we're close to being boarding. So they keep right on, telling us this. By this time, everybody's kind of like, what's going on? Everybody looking at each other. Everybody don't want to get, too irate or anything. We're like, what's happening? Then they came on again, and they was like, well, we're not going to continue to say that this plane is delayed. We're only going to come back and announce when it's actually in the hangar, because at this point now, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. And we know, and my daughter kept saying, well, in RDU, they don't let planes fly out after 12 o'clock. Do y'all think this plane's going to be canceled? And the woman said, no. We've had planes leave at 4 a.m. in the morning. You'll make your flight. Don't worry about it. They haven't canceled. They won't cancel it. So we're like, I went to sleep. I laid down as best I could on this table. My daughter did some work and what have you. Then, like I say, it was ushering into like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning at this point. And they still had yet to cancel this flight. They said, we're going to make it. Then they finally came, I think it was about maybe 3 something. They came out because people was laying on the floor sleeping. Everybody's still there hopeful because they hadn't canceled the flight. So they said that we're going to still go. And we're still like cackling. We're sending text messages to my other daughter. Said, okay, we don't want you to go find an Airbnb by yourself. Just hang out in the airport. We'll be there. They said we're going to make it. We might not make it till like 4 o'clock now as opposed to 11 o'clock a.m. Europe time, Rome time. So we're like, okay, all right, well, let's see what happens. Okay, so they finally got on the thing and said, the plane is in the hangar. Everybody started clapping. Yay! We're like, yes, we're going to make it. We start calculating the time. We start still sending text messages. Even though my daughter wasn't going to be able to see it, that's en route, at least she'll see it when she lands that this is, expectation of the time we're going to get there, our ETA estimate, okay? So she can level set her expectations. None of us ever been to Rome before. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't know. We don't want her trying to find, hail taxis, Ubers, and go to somewhere and meet a person for Airbnb without us being there. So we're like, no, we're not gonna do this. So you just hang out there, and we'll be on shortly. So we thought. So then they said, like I said, I digress now. They said that it was in the hangar. So we're gonna be boarding soon. We see the captain, we see the stewardess all lined up, because they got to go on before us. So we're like, yes, they're all lined up waiting to go on. Finally, the doors open and they allow the crew to go in. They got to tidy up a bit or whatever. Clock's still ticking. Well, at least we're hopeful. So we're talking to each other. Oh my goodness, I done met this man that's flying over there to see the Pope or something. And he said there's people that's going to be from all different countries and stuff. And he, only thing he's going to miss is the icebreaker, yada, yada, yada. So everybody's just talking, da, 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 da. We've got our good and happy face on and our half glass full face on. Our half glass full. Not half glass empty, but half glass full face on. So we're just happy, because we're going to make it. Delayed, but we're going to make it. So then they come out and say, okay, now granted, we're like I said, we're premium. So we're up at the front of the line. We get priority boarding and all this stuff. So, we don't get to be in the back of the line. So we're going to be some of the first to get on, which we were. So they, even though we're priority, when they opened up the gates, they hurried us through. They were like, come on. You got to scan your passport and all this stuff. And your ticket, scanning. They were like rushing us. What the hell are they rushing us for? Y'all done kept us this late. If we ain't rushing y'all shouldn't be rushing us. So I'm like, this don't seem right. But anywho, nonetheless, we just going on up there. We seated up near the front because we in premium, okay? So we chilling and everything, And lo and behold, honey, we getting situated and everything. Now, this is the first thing. When I go up there, we in premium, so they give us all out. This is an international flight. Remember that now. So they give us all of our stuff in a zipped bag. Nice blanket, nice toothbrush, and all the the little amenities, socks for your feet, pillows and stuff for your headrest and all this stuff. And I open up my bag and I'm like, I do like this. I do a sniff test and I smell a little mildewy. How when you leave your clothes in the dryer and you forget to turn it on, or it's not dried all the way, you don't finish drying, and it sits there for a day or something, it smells like that. And then I touched it, I was like, this touch, I said, feel damp. It feels really damp. And so I'm like, I asked my daughter, sitting right beside me, I said, is yours like that? And she said, no, mine's fine. So I held down my, the crew member, tell her, I said, this blanket don't smell fresh. And I said, it's a little damp. So then she go and get me a fresh new bag. She brings it. Oh, it had headsets in there. Nice package bag, because we in premium. I said again, we in premium, girls. Okay, we in premiums. So anyway, and then she brings it to me. Next thing I know, 2 rows in front of us, another lady said, my blanket is wet. So then it was like, and it was just kind of like everybody was popping up. This blanket is wet. It smells. This blanket is wet. It smells. These are all people in premium now, not the people I don't in the back, because they had a whole different setup in terms of blankets and all that. They didn't have the stuff that we had. So anyways, I was like, So they had to replace everybody. And then they came out. They was like, is yours good? Is yours good? So they're replacing everybody's blankets and everything. Okay, all of this is going on. Finally, I settled in with my nice smelling, warm feeling blanket. I put it on and I decide I'm sleepy. I'm tired. It's been a long day for me. Okay. It had been a long day for us because we're in the food truck business is one of our gigs. Okay. And we had a major event. That's the reason why we had to fly out at American Airlines, because it was the latest one that would get us there at 11 o'clock to meet my other daughter, because we had an event that whole day that started like 6 o'clock in the morning. So granted, I'm tired. 6 a.m. and now it's like 4 a.m. I said, I pulled the blanket over my head, and I just reclined my seat, put my seatbelt on, and I went to sleep. Because I said, I don't know what's taking these folks this long to get us off this ground, but you know what? I won't even think about it, because I'm already boarded in my premium seat, and I'm like ready to go to sleep. And when I wake up, I'm going to be in Rome. Okay. Now this is an 8-hour flight. And I was like, they just wake me up for dinner whenever they're going to serve us, whatever they're going to serve us. Because now everything is off, because we fly, it's 4 a.m. in the morning. I don't know what they're going to serve us breakfast. I don't know what they're going to serve us lunch. I don't know what they're going to serve us. I don't know. And I didn't care because I was tired. Hear what I'm saying? I was tired. So I went to sleep. And I fell asleep. And lo and behold, and my daughter did too, because she had worked the same schedule I had. And we were exhausted. And she had even done more than me, because she had to drop dogs off and everything at the boarding and all this, prepare them like kids with their snacks and all that stuff and their food supply for the whole time that we was going to be away. So, and she had 2 dogs. She had to do her dog and my other daughter that was in San Diego. She had to do all that. So we had a lot going on. And so then we both went to sleep, only to be awakened, which I thought they were tapping me on my shoulder for my meal. They were tapping me on my shoulder. The man that was sitting behind us and told me that we had to get off the plane. I said, get off the plane? We here already? I missed the meal? I done missed my meal. I slept through and we in Rome now? What? And he said, no, we still in Philly. They canceled the flight. We got to get off the plane. We were like, what the? We got to get off the plane. We ain't even in the air, y'all, mind you. We ain't even in the air. They canceled the flight. Cancel the flight? What are you talking about? Oh my gosh. All I could think about, my other daughter is over. She flying and she gonna be over in Rome by herself. We hadn't made no backup arrangements for no flights flying out. Child, people were scurrying off the plane. People were cussing. People were fussing. Now, I ain't never seen white folks get upset before. But you know what I'm saying? They were pissed off. They were pissed off. And the thing was, there was no more flights going out. It's 5 o'clock in the morning now. Ain't no flights going out. It won't even no early flights going out. There was no flights going out until 4 o'clock the next day. Well, now we into the next day because it's 4 o'clock. So it was 4 o'clock Monday before it would go out. Excuse me. No, 4 o'clock. Let me back up. 4 o'clock Sunday before they would go out. That was the first one. And it was on the same flight. The same flight, which is the same airplane and everything. And they told us, these are the choices you have. You can cancel. Well, the flight's already canceled. Issue you a refund and go home. But these people, everybody's going to Rome. Who's going to go home? Nobody wants to go home. We want to go to Rome. We don't want to go home. We want to go to Rome. So everybody ended up taking the same flight again. We said we want to rebook with American. Because if we did Delta or any other flights, guess what? We'd get there to Rome later than what the 4 o'clock one that was leaving on Sunday. So the 4 o'clock one that was leaving, the rebooking one with American Airlines on the same plane for American was leaving at 4 p.m. on Sunday. It would get us at 6 o'clock a.m. on Monday. So we were like, okay, that's the best we can do. 6 o'clock in the morning on Monday when we were supposed to get there at 11 a.m. on Sunday. Remember, they're 6 hours ahead of us. So we're just losing time. Everybody, but what can we do? If we got a connecting flight, we're looking for connecting flights. Delta at 8 a.m. would get us to Atlanta. It wasn't a direct flight. This was a direct flight from Philly. There was no direct flights. You would either have to go to Atlanta, then get to Rome. It still was going to get us there roughly the same time or later on Monday. So everybody just opted for the reschedule on American. Now, this line is out the yang for people to get up there to reschedule, get hotel vouchers, shuttle vouchers, meal vouchers that was going to carry us over from this time, which is now 5 o'clock in the morning, Monday morning, till Monday at 4 p.m. My daughter went on ChatGPT, honey. Shout out to Chat, honey. And she went and she did all of our stuff online. We didn't have to wait in that line. And we got our hotel. They were only giving 2. Comfort Inn and I think Holiday Inn or something. We got the one that was closest, which is 7 miles out from the airport. There was some that was like 20 miles out or something like that. We didn't wait for a shuttle. We took an Uber because we're going to file a claim of a reimbursement. Trust me, American, I'm filing my claim for my Uber expense and for my day that I lost in Rome, for my Airbnb costs, okay? They told us they were going to repay us for that. So whatever we lost, our hotel accommodations for that day, because we're now a whole day later flying out. So they said they would pay for our whatever we had lost. So that's what my claim is going to look like, okay? But here we go. We didn't get to, I think it was almost 6 o'clock. They told us we had to be out the room by noon. That's the latest that they would let us stay in there. So we only really got to shower, sleep for a couple hours. Then we were out, and then check, to go back in. We had to check back in and do all that stuff again for an international flight in Philly to be boarded on a plane at 4 o'clock the next day. So all in all, they offered us a $12 voucher, food voucher. We didn't really get to use it. Where we're going to use it, we used it in the airport when we checked back in on Monday, waiting for our 4 o'clock flight. But there was nothing in the airport that cost $12. So we still had to add more money to it. So that little money that they gave us was nothing. And the hotel they put us up in was a Comfort Inn. We saw bugs on the floor at the check-in desk. So we decided to keep our suitcases closed, of course, and put them on the actual counter so that they wouldn't be on the floor, because we didn't want no bugs or nothing crawling in our bags. We just put all our stuff on the actual counter and slept with one eye open. Okay, now back to my daughter that was already in her route to Rome. She was gonna have to just figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Stay in the airport or either, check in to the Airbnb by herself. So that was the story. Okay. Now I'm going to do a part 2 on that. But now here comes the 4 o'clock next day, which now we're in Monday. Okay. Remember, we left Saturday. Monday, we're still in the US of A. We haven't gotten to Rome yet. Okay. We're still in Philly. They said it was the same plane. We actually talked to the pilot and to the head crew member, and they told us that the reason why they escorted us off the plane was they have a rule, and this is, I guess, this is a federal aviation rule or something, that requires you have to have that plane has to be lifted off the ground by 3:30. Now they knew when then we figured out, we said, okay, that's the reason why. So the plane was ready. The maintenance was done. They didn't get the fuel in the plane in time so that their wheels of that plane could be lifted off the ground by 3:30 a.m. Now they knew damn well when they were rushing us in there at 3 o'clock or whatever time it was, because I done lost time at time, but it was late as hell, that they weren't going to be able to do all of that by no 3:30 so we'd be able to lift. They had us sit on that plane until 4 something before they called it and got comfortable. I was asleep, and then here we go, they canceled the flight. So that was the reason why it was canceled. It wasn't due to no weather. They finished the maintenance. They just didn't get the fuel in the plane in time enough for those wheels to lift off the ground by their 3:30 a.m. policy that the FFA, I think, requires them to do. So anyways, so the same plane that we were on, we got on at 4:10 the following, well, actually not the following day, but the same day, but in the evening, 4 p.m., we got on that plane. And everything went fine, boarding. And then once we got situated, we were sitting there on the tarmac again. Everybody in the seats on the planes, and we were like, wait a minute. This shit feels like deja vu. Why are we sitting here? Why have we not yet, heard no announcement say, click, click, put on your seat belts, we're about to take off, weather, blah, 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 blah. The spiel that they give. Nothing. We hadn't heard nothing. We just sat and sat. Everybody's sitting. Everybody's like, deja vu. Are they going to pull our ass off this plane again and say something's wrong? But they did. What they finally came up and said was that they were having, this was the pilot came up and said that they were waiting on the meal prep service. So I said, American, get your shit together. Now, you already know this is a redo for us. We already pissed. We already done lost a day in Rome. And now we sitting on the tarmac again for an hour waiting on y'all now because y'all didn't have fucking meal prep together. Meal prep. At this point, we're like, hell, we don't even want to eat. We just want to fly and get our ass to Rome. Okay? We want to get to Rome. And so finally, all of that went, and then we smooth sailed and we landed in around 6 or so in Rome Monday morning. Okay? Now, granted, this is Sunday because they're 6 hours ahead. We leave Sunday at 4 p.m. instead of Saturday at 9:15 p.m. that we were supposed to. So I say all this to say that American, you got to do better. You got to do better. I'm a Delta girl. I'm a Delta girl all the way around. Shout out to my Deltas, my DST, you know, my Divine 9, because I'm a Delta and I fly Delta. But this time we had to fly American because of some other issues and what have you, that we wanted to make sure we got in at a certain time, which we didn't. And my husband told me, said, why are you flying through Philly? He said, I've never had any good luck with flying through Philly, any connecting flight through Philly. I was like, no, I think this is what's going to get us there. And I was like, I didn't listen to him. And I told myself, well, now I'm going to listen to you. I'm not flying no connection through Philly either. I'm not. Because when we tried to find out, why things was going on, these people were not friendly. I was like, I asked the people, I said, where's the city of brotherly love? Because y'all ain't showed me no love since I've been here. Okay? So anyways, and last things, and I'm going to wrap this up, about American Airlines. Okay? The food, now we're in premium. So we get the premium food, and then they have certain foods that they give to those who are not in economy. But how about, we were served, I think, a dinner and a breakfast. It's an 8-hour flight. For each meal, by the time they got to us, I think we were the last seat in premium, which we liked because there was nobody behind us. The next row was economy, and then they had, the front seat economy where you don't have a seat in front of you. So we liked that. But every time they got to us for our meal or our entire row, they were out. They had 2 options. So we really didn't have the 2 options either. I think there was chicken and beef. They ran out of the chicken for the dinner when it came to us, so we only got the beef option. What if you don't like beef? Then you don't eat. Maybe you don't do beef. You just do chicken and fish, or maybe you just do, there was just, I think it was a vegan option too, but they ran out of the meat options. Second, I was okay with that, because like I said, I'm just glad we on the way to Rome. My daughter was pissed off with a little bit with that, but then she was really pissed when the breakfast menu came around, and they had, I think, what was it? They had an omelet option. I don't know what was in the omelet. Maybe just eggs. I don't know. It was an omelet option because we didn't get it. Because guess what? They ran out of the omelet option. So we ended up with yogurt and some type of roll, some sweet roll, which is that all I eat anyways for breakfast is yogurt. So it worked out fine for me with granola and stuff like that. But my daughter was pissed off. She was pissed off for like I don't know what, because she was like, this ain't it. This is not it. And she loves omelets. American, like I said, you got to do better. And then the wait staff threw the stuff at us. I mean, the little roll or whatever. She said, well, I threw it on her plate. Cause I was like, where's my little Danish or whatever? She said, I threw it on her plate. First of all, you assumed that I was with her. You gonna throw my food on somebody else's plate? American, do better, because I will no longer fly. So y'all beware. Don't fly Americans, especially if you're doing international. And I'm out.